stopping by the channel. My name's Leah, and I'm going to be recapping and reviewing Growing Up Hip Hop. This is season 6, episode either 27 or 28. I don't know. This was like a really heavy episode. Let's get into it. So the episode opens up and Brianna's on FaceTime with TT and basically they're just catching up with each other and giving a rundown of what's been going on in their lives. Unfortunately, we all saw last episode, or if you haven't seen last episode, Brianna got arrested at gunpoint by the police, and she basically said that like she got arrested and there wasn't a real reason for them to arrest her. So you know what? If we're going to be real, y'all, after watching the Tasha K interview with Brianna, I feel like Brianna puts herself into situations and then she wonders why things are the way that they are. Now, her parents not treating her correctly, that's not her fault. That like she was a child, they should have had her back. Or her mom not pouring into her, she should have did that. But certain situations that she spoke about in the interview and this situation here, I felt like, okay, girl, even though she broke down at the end of the episode and I did tear up a little bit, I was like, you got to take ownership that you kind of put yourself in these situations. Like when she explained what happened, it sounded real shady. So basically she wanted to get a nice expensive car, but she doesn't have good credit. So, and if you don't know, if you ain't got good credit, either you can't get the car or the payments for the car are like astronomical. So she had like a lady that she knew, or maybe like a acquaintance or whatever, that had good credit, that was trying to either like, or decent credit, that was trying to build their credit. And so her name is on the lease, I guess, but she helped Brianna sign for the car. And then that person called the police saying that the car was stolen, and that is why they came to her home. So the reason why Brianna got arrested, or what they're saying they arrested her for, is because she brandished a weapon at the police officer. Well, from Brianna's standpoint, she was sitting on the couch, she was doing IG Live talking about polyamory, and she heard a knock at the door. She said, "Hello, who is it?" No one opened up. She heard another knock at the door and she grabbed her machete and said, "Hello, who is it?" And when she opened the door, it was the police, and one of the police officers had a gun at her, like pointed at her. And so she's like, whoa, tries to shut the door. The police officer puts his foot in the door, and then she was in like her underwear and a t-shirt because she was like, chilling at her own home. Her son came walking out because he heard the commotion. I think she said he's like 7 or 8. She was like freaking out, talking about, don't like do this in front of my son. It's going to traumatize him. And like they pull her out her own apartment. They tie her, like, detain her. They said they didn't arrest her, but I guess she did get arrested because they ended up charging her with brandishing a weapon at a police officer. While they're having this conversation, Brianna is saying these things like I'm saying it, like it didn't happen to her, like or it did happen, but very like casually. It kind of reminds me of someone who's like, who's used to fighting people all the time, who's like, yeah, girl, she was talking shit, so I popped her in the face. She gave off that kind of attitude, and like TT said in her confessional, like, she says these things so flippantly, like it's normal, but you can tell she's saying it this way because this is her way of like coping with it. And TT is like, I can't wait to see you at the wedding. I want you to come enjoy yourself. But Brianna's like scared to even leave the house because of what happened. And TT's like, but I want you to come to the wedding, enjoy yourself, and have a good time. So she's like, Brianna says she's going to come, but like she's having a hard time. So the next thing we see is Boogie and Savannah out like at some juice bar or some vegetable spot. I don't even know why they met up because you can clearly tell they're not friends like that, even inside the show or outside the show. It was very awkward and very dry. Like Savannah kind of had a slick, like she's very like aggressive for no reason. Like Boogie was trying to like Alfred to like open up because I think they were taking like turmeric shots, and she was like, no, I got it. But she was like struggling with it. So he was just trying to help. Then he gets like, while they're sitting at the table, he got a phone call from JoJo They want JoJo's inviting everybody to come over to a showcase of his new artist called Jags, the white girl who I think she won the showcase last year. JoJo tells Savannah, like, girl, don't be out there trying to fight nobody at my party. Savannah's trying to act like it wasn't that serious. I didn't do anything. And it's like, yeah, you did, stupid. And then Boogie is like confused because I guess they didn't explain to him like what really happened or what transpired. But then after he gets off the phone with JoJo, I guess one of Brianna's followers hits up Boogie and is like, can y'all do anything to help her after seeing her get arrested on live? So it's like, didn't nobody really know what happened to her? So they're all just kind of confused. But Boogie reminisces about like the last fight they had earlier seasons. Well, not earlier season, was the beginning of part 6. I hate that. The beginning of last season of this season where Boogie was trying to tell Brianna to slow down on her drinking, and she was like angry about it. And my thing is like, I kind of agreed with Boogie and I kind of didn't, because it's like, we got more information. It does, because like I said earlier in my reviews where I was just like, it seems like Boogie don't be around enough to tell somebody to calm their drinking down. And it gave that. And we get confirmation from Rihanna that, and even Boogie, that like he doesn't do a good job in checking on people. So it's kind of like, how can you tell me not to drink even though you're a recovering like addict in a sense? Don't tell me what to do. But honestly, he wasn't wrong, you know? Like, even in that interview with Tasha K, Brianna was drinking gin. When we saw her last year, she drinking gin. It's like she's always drinking. She was drunk in the confessionals. And it's like, he kept saying, I wasn't telling you to not drink. I was telling you to slow down. And it's like, you can tell she used drinking the Coke. Even though she tries to act like she's not an alcoholic, it's like you have the characteristics of it. Even if you're not one, you shouldn't be drinking every day. Like, I likes me a good drink, you know, rum and Coke, rum and some cranberry juice is good. But like, I'm not drinking every day. And it seems like every time we see Brianna, she got something in her cup. It's like every time you see her, she got something in her cup. So he wasn't wrong, in my opinion. He wasn't wrong, but it's just like, he was wrong, but he wasn't wrong. It's like, you don't have that relationship with somebody and you're a recovering addict. It's like, don't tell me about myself, sir. Don't, even though he was right, you know? But he said he gonna check up on her because he was kind of like, it made him uncomfortable to see that. Okay, so the next scene we see is Eric, Devin, which is, I think, Casey's son. Yeah, Casey's son from Casey and JoJo. Lazy Bones, some random dude who looked like he Lazy Bones' friend. And JoJo, and then Lil Twist. So they're playing outside. They're playing spades. Devin is a little excited, a little competitive, a little loud. And Lazy Bones and Twist keep mentioning how loud he is, kind of making slick, well, I won't say slick comments, well, no, they were slick, but they were trying to be like, give him like the cue to like calm down, and he didn't really take it. I was kind of annoyed with both Lazy Bones and Twist, because I'm like, I was with Devin, we outside, like, we're playing a game, we're allowed to be loud. But I can also see it from two people who had trouble with the law, that it's like, calm down for someone to call the cops because we too loud. We ain't got time. We don't know if some people here got warrants, you know. So I got it, but I was just like, both Lazy Bone and Lil Twist were being extra, in my opinion. So then they both go over to the side, like, while the people are still playing. Side note, y'all, I don't know how to play spades. Throw your tomatoes if you must. I've tried, but every time I've tried to learn with people, they get so angry that I get mad that you mad at me. Like, I told you I don't know how to play the game, so I don't get why you got an attitude with me, okay? And I feel like y'all be wanting all black people to know how to play spades, but then you don't want to teach nobody. So how am I supposed to learn if you're not going to teach me? But Lazy Bones and Twist have a conversation. They bonding about, they messed up past and they, the trouble that they got into. The next scene we see is Twist basically being a host at a concert, and he performs. It seemed like it went well. Like the crowd was feeling him. He was loving it. He was enjoying himself. And I was happy for him. You know, at least he's still performing and stuff like that. It's still crazy how he allowed Justin Bieber to like, he allowed them people in Justin's camp and even in his camp to allow him to mess up his life for this white boy. And it's like, bro. And now you on, like, you know, growing up hip hop while Justin is still like a millionaire. Like, Justin should be sliding him money, in my, like, not even in my opinion. Do the right thing, Justin. So then the next thing we see is Jags. They're showcasing her music video, and everybody's invited. The only person we didn't see is, say, Sequoia and Devin, but it was the regular trio, you know. Yeah, the regular people. Oh, we didn't see Sequoia, Devin, Cree, or what's her name? Sequoia, Devin, Cree. TT wasn't there, and maybe one other person wasn't there. Honestly, I didn't like the music video. I was like, what is this? But the song sounded good. The song actually sounded really well. Like, I liked the vibe. It was called, like, I think California Angel. And it sounded really good. Everyone was surprised and, like, finding out about Brianna. What happened to Brianna. They were all talking about it. And you could tell that people were just like, dang, like, she, like, nobody, like, it doesn't seem like all of them are, like, close like that. But because they're a part of this show and because they have a kinship to, like, hip-hop, they're all just kind of like, they don't want to see nobody get caught up by the law. Like, so they were all worried and they were hoping she came, and would come to the actual music video. And she ended up coming. Her and Boogie had a conversation. And this is what I was talking about earlier, when we get confirmation that Boogie doesn't, he don't be checking up on people. He even said he does a horrible job at it. And he was like, he's here for Brianna. Like, he still got love for Brianna. And he hates the fact, like, he hates that, like, she got arrested. He hates the fact that she is traumatized by it, that she doesn't feel safe, but he wants to be there for her. And Brianna was surprised that, like, Boogie is drinking. And Boogie was like, I can drink in moderation. I've learned that. And he was like, I wasn't telling you to stop drinking. I was just telling you to slow down. And he was right. She needed to slow down. But I was happy to see that they were, like, getting along. And it doesn't seem like they'll ever be the same like they were. But at least they had a conversation. At least they had a conversation. That's all that really matters. So the next thing we see is, like, a little short about, like, TT and Sean getting ready for the wedding. You know, people, her, like, Sean kind of being perturbed that, like, they're going to let Tyrann come to the wedding even though he doesn't want to get vaxxed. And, Sean's like, it's on you if people get sick. Because other people in his family didn't want to get vaccinated, but they did because they wanted to come to the wedding. And it's not fair. It isn't fair, but it is what it is. So the next scene we see is Sam, Eric, and Egypt. We're at Egypt's and Sam's apartment. Eric is stopping by. He was in Las Vegas doing something for, like, business. But y'all, that apartment... that apartment, y'all. Like, this is my thing. I had comments about them living and doing OnlyFans at her mama's house. But, like, you know what? If I was her, I wouldn't care about what none of us had to say. If I went from living in a nice house with a pool in the backyard and a nice subdivision to what she living in now. And that's not to say that, like, that's, it is, you know what? It's a downgrade, but, like, it's a downgrade in the sense of, like, your mom is wealthy and you chose to live in this with that man. You chose to live in this starter. Like, it was given very, like, the apartment looks very much like college. But then again, I forget that, like, she's 22 and people, like, that's college age, you know? So, like, so it looks like a starter apartment, like, that you and your friends rent to stay in so you can go, like, so you don't gotta live on campus. And I was just like, you went from that to this for him? And then some of y'all were telling me in the comments on the last video that, like, there's a rumor she might be pregnant. And I was like, Sam, girl. I was like, wow. Like, wow. Like I hope, you know what? No, I'm not even gonna say that. If she's pregnant, you know, congratulations. At least she's not like 19 or 18 or 17 being like, she's not in her teens pregnant. You know, I would still say being pregnant in your early 20s isn't the best either, because you still trying to like, you still figuring out life. And like, I know I couldn't do it. But it's just kind of like, wow, girl. Like, wow. If you really are. But they're talking about the wedding. Eric brings up, you know, like going to TT's wedding. And they're like, are you going? And she was like, I don't know. I've been trying to reach out to her, but she ain't really taking the time for me. And that sucks. But it's like, it is what it is at this point. And now all of a sudden, it's weird because it's a shift. Because the earlier part of the season, before they took their break, Egypt was all about like checking TT, telling TT how she felt, how she was just like, you know, I'm gonna let her know that like she's jealous of my life because I'm the hip hop royalty. But now all of a sudden we're on this episode and you're talking about you want to mend fences and you've been trying to reach out because I want her to be at my wedding and I want her to be at her wedding. And it's like, I don't know. I really feel like maybe she's realized that like she's burned bridges with a lot of people and a lot of people don't see it for her like that, mainly because of who she's associated with. Now, it's weird. And then it's also weird how Sam kind of alluded that maybe Egypt gets a little a little about herself when she gets alcohol in her system, because he was like, I don't mind sitting down having a conversation with her. And then Sam was across the table talking about without alcohol. And she said, yes, without alcohol. So I'm like, okay, so do you get bout it when you on the liquor? And then Eric asks Sam about, and it's weird because when Eric asks Sam about the case, he's like, you know what? I'm not even, you know, I'm good, man. We not going to be doing no time. Even if it's like a month or something. He was like, I ain't do nothing. And I was like, how does the emotions, and maybe this is like acceptance, because, you know, there's like 5 stages of grief with any situation that you're grieving. And maybe now he's like starting to like, he's angry, because I'm like, at first you were all like, he's kept the same story about like, okay, I didn't really do nothing to warrant anything, but like, you know, he was like apathetic to like, yeah, if I gotta take time, I'll take time. I just want her to do her thing. Now all of a sudden he's like, I'm not going to jail. I'm not even gonna take them 15 years because I ain't do nothing. And I'm just kind of like, okay, this is a shift, you know. But yeah, I don't know. They're weird. They're weird. I mean, she got married to him, so congratulations to them. Hopefully he don't go to jail, because it doesn't seem like he really was. It was really his fault. And 15 years is a lot if this is like his first offense for like brandishing a weapon when they was brandishing weapons too. So I hope he don't go to jail. The next scene we see, the scene that kind of that had me tearing up, was with Brianna and Tiny. And they have like a mutual friends. I often forget that Brianna's like in her late 30s. Like her mid 30s. Like she's like either 35 or 36. So like, it's just weird. It like when people like, when she's like, oh, we have a friend in common. I'm kind of like, well, how old is Tiny? Because Tiny looks like she might be in her 40s. But I'm like, y'all got a friend in common. But then it clicks like, oh, she's in her 30s. So Brianna expresses to Tiny about like what happened with the police. It's sad to know that her son is traumatized by it. And like what happened, she explains what happens. She said, you know, I didn't want my kid to be traumatized, but basically he is, because someone rang the doorbell and she went to go open the doorbell and he was like, no, like he freaked out. And I'm just like, dang. And then the messed up part is like, she was like, her home was her sanctuary and she doesn't even feel safe in her home anymore. And it also was very telling that when Tiny was trying to like console her, you know, like put a hand on your, to know, you know, that's a human nature thing, like for some people to be like, okay, to like touch your shoulder or to put a hand, like their hand on your thigh to like be like, okay, I'm here for you. And she was like, don't touch me. And she was like, sorry. But like, she was like, she's like, I'm above consoling. And I was like, that's very toxic to think that you don't need consoling, or you can, because you can't console yourself. Like, she was basically having a panic attack. She was having a panic attack. And then she was saying that like, she's tired. You can tell like she's tired of fighting. And that's why I'm saying you can tell there's like a drinking issue, because she offered Tiny some liquor. And I'm just like, you shouldn't be offering people every time. Like, you just shouldn't be offering people liquor every time they see you. Or you shouldn't be drinking every time they see you. Especially if it's like, y'all were in the studio kicking it. And I just felt so bad for her. And I want her to get therapy. Not no like chakra meditation type therapy. I want her to like sit down with somebody who's like a licensed therapist or psychologist that can help her like navigate her feelings. Because you can tell, like, she even says she feels unsafe like when she was 12. Like, that whole situation has like brung up, like, kicked up the dirt of a lot of trauma that she has dealt with, and she needs help. And I hope she gets the help, because this ain't the way to be. Like, that whole situation, like, I teared up. Like, when she started breaking down, especially when she started hyperventilating, because I've had I've had several anxiety attacks, so I know how that feels. And you feel like you can't breathe. You feel like the walls are closing in. And like, I just was like, you need help. Like, legitimate help. Not no like singing therapy. No, like, legitimately going to meet somebody every week, once a week, or maybe twice a week, to talk about how you can work through your issues, especially with you having a son. And now your child is scared. And I'm like, he doesn't feel safe going outside. And I'm like, you need to get him therapy, because that's not a way to live. Like, that, like, that whole scene was just like, why would y'all end the episode like that? Like, why? Mind you, y'all, I forgot about JoJo and Denise. That lets you know how much I don't care about their situation. So JoJo and Denise, everybody was asking when we were at Jax's, when everyone was at Jax's music video reveal, everyone was trying to figure out if Denise was gonna come. So that makes me feel like maybe Denise has stood up everybody before, and at this point people feel like it's a pattern. But the girl show up, she looked nice, although I was tired of her puffy sleeves, where she had one that was like on the shoulder, the other one was like off her shoulder. And I was like, is it supposed to be like that? Or are they supposed to be off the shoulder or up on the shoulder? But she came. She's not feeling so great about her marriage with JoJo either. They're both feeling like there's something wrong, like they're not connecting like they used to. She feels unsure. He feels unsure. They just need to take their asses to counseling and figure it out. Because I'm tired of it. You know why I'm tired of it? Because part of me feels like they playing with their marriage. Because it don't feel real. It don't feel real to me. But yeah, y'all. That's it. That's all. Drop down in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. And again, remember to be bravely authentic. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.